This is the Nike Vomero Premium, and it is a behemoth of a shoe. I am stoked to get it on foot today and take it out for our first run review, taking it through different paces, 10-minute pace, 8:30 pace, and something under 7-minute pace. This is a hefty shoe, so it'll be a little bit of a chore to get it down super fast, but I'm excited to see how it feels. The storyline of this shoe is just the absolutely massive 55 millimeter stack height. The run repeat numbers have this as the second most shock absorbent shoe they've ever tested, and it makes sense. Between two layers of foam, you have two separate air zoom units, and they go throughout the entire shoe. So they are both sides here. And with recovery kind of being the name of the game here, this really wide platform that we've got is going to make life just a little bit easier. We aren't going to have to work super hard to stabilize like we do with a very narrow lasted shoe. And the fun thing with this is we get Easter eggs all around. So you can see here, not World Athletics approved. You can see the stack height for the heel and the forefoot, obviously 10 millimeter drop, just air zoom units there, the swoosh. It just feels like there are a ton of Easter eggs throughout this whole thing. This is also part of the group of shoes that the Nike rep for the running store I manage sent me, so this is not one I had to buy with my own money. Always just like being transparent on that. We'll go ahead and put the run repeat numbers up here as well so you can see all of them. The energy return numbers aren't like really crazy, but we're not really asking this to have crazy energy return. We want it to take shock away from our legs. To me, the way I'm thinking this shoe is going to feel, and I've only had it on foot one other time at a demo, but I think the feeling I'm going to get is like we are almost doing one of the treadmills where you can reduce the weight, your own body weight, like one of the moon treadmills. So I think that's what this is going to do for us in a different capacity, just absorbing all that shock for us. Let's go ahead and get it on foot and get a fit and feel test before we walk and go ahead and start our run. So let's get it on foot. All right, so one other thing to mention with this is it is super padded all the way around. Comfort, again, is the name of the game with this shoe. I did weigh it at home and it came in at like 14.4 ounces for me, which is pretty hefty in my size 12.5 here. I do normally go size 12.5 with Nike. I am going to have a better feel for that and how it is size-wise here in just one moment. So immediately I can tell this is pretty accommodating. I like that. As always, I'm just going to runner's loop it preemptively. I just like having that secure feel. I know this only counts for so much as well, but I do also really think this colorway is super sick. I think if you wanted like just a super casual shoe that feels nice and you want to like lifestyle, I mean, I think this has just got a ton of drip to it. So I really like that part. Let's see how we are doing. The lockdown here is nice. We've got a lot of space here. So with Nike, I usually go to 12.5, so usually up a half a size, and I've got my toe right here, so I've got a full thumb. For a recovery day shoe, I'm actually not mad at that. If I was doing pretty much anything else, I would probably want to go with my standard size 12. So Vomero Plus and Vomero Premium, I would go size 12. Pegasus Premium, Pegasus, both were 12.5 for me. So with Nike, you sometimes just have to go up size-wise. Width feels great. There is plenty of space all the way through this. Let's get a squish test. All right, so obviously, immediately, super visible. These pods collapse in a really nice way. So the Pegasus Premium was really hard to get those to collapse, that zoom unit. This, however, is super happy to do it. Wide enough that I don't feel unstable at all, but the heel feels super soft. I'm actually so excited. Let's do a quick walk test. Coming out here, I mean, it doesn't even feel that high off the ground, which is crazy to me. Fit feels super good, dialed upper, all the comfort you could possibly want. Feels good. I'm so excited to start running. It feels very plush, very smooth with that roll. I am super stoked to start running this. Okay, so we'll obviously check in at a half mile like normal, but first impression on this, it is so bouncy. I really, really like how this feels. Tons of like, shock absorbance is the right word, but it feels like a trampoline. So it doesn't feel like the energy return is low at all. So that's super fun. We are starting the first 10-minute pace mile here. And then as always, at the end, I'll go through, talk about who it's for, who it's not for, the value at the price point, because it is a little bit steep, and then if or where it would fit into a rotation for you. So we'll check in a minute. We didn't even get a half mile in here before something cool happened. So I didn't realize, I don't know if you've ever had this before, there was like something in my sock that I didn't feel until I started running. So I had to take a shoe off. So I only took one off and I was just balancing and hopping around. And the cool thing was, with the shoes being as wide of a platform they are and not being mushy, I was actually able to stand on one leg, even with all this big stack, pretty like securely and comfortably. So I wasn't like wobbling around trying my like hardest to keep my balance. It was just a really nice wide platform that let me kind of stay on one foot, which was cool. Okay, we are just about a half mile in. Actually, no, we are exactly now. 9:50 pace, even on some wet ground. The traction is fantastic. There was an area back there that was even a little more damp, and I was like, how's this gonna be doing a tight corner to turn around? And did great. It is not asking me to go super fast. It is not slowing me down at all. I could absolutely see this actually going into the rotation for easy days, because this is just a treat. Like, this is like an experience kind of run in. I have no clue how it's going to feel at the like 8:30 and sub 7-minute paces, but I'm really excited to find out. We'll check in here in a minute. Okay, so that first mile is done. So nice. 9:53 pace, never felt so good. Really enjoyable. I'm excited to get to this next set. As always, if these reviews are helpful for you guys, you can take a look at the Ontos running brand. That is my running brand. I'll have a link down below. You can use YTO10 for 10% off your order. The caps are actually live on their pre-sale. So I don't have the exact date they're going to land, but all invoices are paid and all should be well in the world. So you can actually do a pre-order now. So you can still use YTO10 off of that. If you want to pick up anything else while you're at it, I'll get that shipped out before the hats get here. But super exciting times. Let's go run an 8:30 mile in these. I cannot wait. Okie doke, we are coming up on, just past a half a mile. 8:28 pace, right where we're supposed to be. And yeah, what a fun shoe. This does have some range in terms of where you're landing on it. So I've done some heel striking, I've done some forefoot striking, and it feels pretty good at both. Obviously played with midfoot as well. So it feels pretty versatile. Like, to me, the heel striking feels the best. That just, I guess, is kind of par for the course, seeing as that's how I normally do my easy running. But I think this reminds me a lot of another shoe that I'll talk about in just a sec. But I'm gonna finish this mile first. All right, I keep fighting with this lawnmower guy back here to try and get these clips in before, it gets overtaken by the sound of the lawnmower. But the shoe I was thinking this reminds me of is the Mountain Coast C1. Now, this is a little more relaxed of a shoe than the C1 is, but I've been doing the C1 for like all of my easy miles. I think this could take a place right in line with that. C1 definitely lighter, so I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning, but Nike had this coming in at 12.4 ounces, which is hefty, compared to like 9.4, if I remember right, for the C1. It's either 9.2 or 9.4. And that one feels lighter, but this has more of that like shock absorbance feel. I think the C1 does really well there, but I'm usually more apt to take the C1 up a little faster pace-wise. This at 8:30 was good. Not like super special, maybe. And for anybody new to the channel, 8:30 for me is like a moderate daily pace. So I'll do a lot of easy running at 9 to 10 minute pace. I will do workouts at like under 7 minute pace for like mile repeats or 800 repeats. Just to give some context where those paces are, 8:30 is good, not phenomenal. I don't expect this is going to feel great at the 7 minute pace for me. 7 minute pace, as I said, usually pretty fast, more of a workout pace, but we're going to do it anyhow because this shoe deserves it. So we're going to go ahead and get into that and see how fast we end up running in it. Okay, we should be well beyond a half mile. Have not looked yet, so let's see. No shot. 6:27 is like, that doesn't make sense to me. Just feels too easy for that pace. But there's a point about ground contact I'll make when I'm not running this fast. I'll be back. All right, so 6:28, that doesn't feel real. To the point about ground contact time, I did not want to have a fast turnover with these. Like, it doesn't make sense with a heavy weight, and didn't make sense when it was on my foot to try and do that. But what was cool was because there's so much stack that can compress and then pop back, having a really long stride length, higher ground contact time, felt like I was pushing way more out in front of me. So I do not normally look too much into cadence data, but I will put it up on the screen here. Because I think it'll be particularly low. I already do not have a super long or super fast cadence, excuse me. I tend towards having a faster stride length, but that pace in a shoe that is not designed to do that is just really unique, remarkable, maybe. I don't know. That was a super good time. I don't know how much more I'm going to run today, but I am going to run some more right now in these, and then I'm going to double back. And I really might wear these again just because they're so nice. With that said, I will go ahead, finish those couple miles, and then break down the value, who it's for and not for, and where it fits in a rotation. I'll be back. Okay, so we just got back. We finished at 6.84 miles for an hour and 4 minutes of running, 9:23 pace. Good efficiency and a lot of base miles here. Fastest mile, 6:27. All right, so you just saw that run finish up. What an absolute gem of a shoe. The Vomero Premium lives up absolutely to everything I've heard about it. In terms of like the cushion, the trampoline feel, the shock absorbance, all of that is so good. Hello, friend. Do you want to join a shoe review? So a couple of things I want to touch on before we get into the actual, like who it's for, the value, the rotation. Couple of points I wanted to make that we touched on earlier. I thought at the very beginning, maybe it would be like having one of the treadmills that takes some weight off of you. And while it doesn't quite feel like that, you can tell the shock absorbance is really high. So it takes some stress off. It's not to the like wild degree that I thought maybe would be the case. Still, obviously super stoked with the shoe. The cadence was actually pretty surprising to me. I guess it kind of makes sense with the shoe being heavier. You're not going to want to turn over quite as fast, but to the trampoline point I made earlier, you know how on a trampoline you have to wait for it to bottom out before you can jump back up. That's what I was feeling with this. Is it feels like you really have to wait for the foam to compress before you get that big return back. So that's why the cadence being so much lower and the stride length being so much longer feels like it made sense for this shoe. in terms of people who would like it, anybody who wants a really comfy plush ride that isn't trying to scream down the road, although the 6:30 pace mile was absolutely shocking to me. Somebody that likes a really wide base. So this is really wide. I had no problems whatsoever in terms of cornering, going around turns, anything like that. All felt really good. Another person that might like it is somebody that just wants to take a little bit of stress off of the body. The person who already has a relatively low cadence and leans towards the stride length. So as I was saying with the trampoline thing, that felt good at the cadence I found. So really easy, smooth rolling shoe, which I liked a lot. So not overly aggressive on the rocker here, but the transition from this back heel pocket to the front one, or the zoom unit, felt just so easy and so smooth, very effortless. So I really like that. Anybody who kind of likes that smooth transition feeling should like this. Another person who might like it is a heel striker. So as I said, I did some heel striking and I was up on my forefoot some. I think both could like it. I think the heel striker gets more of the benefit of this gigantic stack back here. And the person that wants to put money behind innovation, if you want the cutting edge of shoe tech, this feels like it. I know the shoe's been out for a while, but oh my goodness, what a fun, crazy experience from a shoe. That's what I kind of look for, is like shoes that make me go, wow, I feel something. So like a glycerin from Brooks, sorry, it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. It's relatively boring. This, although more expensive than a glycerin, makes me go like, wow, this is super interesting. The feel on foot is interesting. When I'm running at different paces, it's interesting. And you get that kind of surprise and delight of a interesting feel. And then the person that might not like it is somebody who likes a really lightweight shoe, like goes for weight at all cost. This is not super light, although you don't feel it tremendously on foot. Does not remind me of a Skechers Aero Razor, if that kind of makes sense. The person that has a really choppy stride, I don't know if I would love it there. Now, the last person that might not like this as much is the person who is really price sensitive. At $230, it is an expensive shoe, but you kind of know that going in, but that's the person who I don't like. That does segue nicely into the value of the shoe, and I really, really like how this shoe feels. I expect that given the amount of stack there is in there and the zoom unit, it's probably going to be pretty daggone durable. Obviously, the outsole here, you're getting a ton of tread as well. So I think you're getting a lot of value given the price point. Now, I haven't seen it on sale a whole bunch, but if you can get it for a deal, I think it would be totally worth the experience of having a unique shoe. Where would it fit in a rotation? Obviously, it's your easy day recovery shoe. I don't think I would really pull for it outside of that, but I talked about it a lot with the Super Blast. When there's a shoe that you want to put on to go do something, like that is where I find value. Like when you want to grab for that tool and it makes you want to go do the thing that you want it to go do, that's where I really find a lot of value. If you've got a shoe you're kind of bleh about and it doesn't make you want to go run and you aren't already apt to go out for a bunch of runs, you know, that's so-so. If there's a shoe that you're like, dang, I can't wait to go put that on and go do a run, that's very exciting. So honestly, I think pretty good value considering what an outlier of a shoe it is in terms of your experience. And, you know, it's not a race day shoe. There are people who would get more utility out of this than they would a $300 plated racer. So, you know, it's always going to be individual, but I think you get a lot of value. All right, so where does this fit in a rotation? Obviously, it's going to be your easy day or recovery shoe, but I think there are a couple of different ways you could structure a rotation with this being your easy shoe. I think if you wanted to do one shoe, you could totally do one shoe with this. This could be the one shoe that you go do all of your running in. Obviously, I just ran a 6:30 mile. It's more about yourself and your fitness and how fast you can get a shoe to go rather than, you know, a specific shoe making you go fast. It's just like how much variability or variance do you want in your shoe. If I were to do two shoes, I would probably say this as your easy day shoe and everything. And then I would just want to pair a lightweight shoe with it. So like a Mount Coast R1, a Saucony Azura. I think the new Brooks Ghost amp would be interesting. It's not out yet, but I just kind of think that's where it's going to be in the run of things. The Adidas Evo SL, all those kinds of shoes that are in that like 7 to 8 ounce range. Even a Skechers Aero Razor. Again, I still really like that shoe a whole lot. You haven't seen it on the channel a bunch, but I've really liked it. Just, it's so light and feels so good. And then obviously with a third shoe, you could have this for your really recovery-based days, something like a Super Blast or a Vomero Plus, and then you can have your fast shoe like your Evo SL or Skechers Aero Razor, any of those lighter weight, faster feeling category shoes. And then finally, the fourth piece of a rotation that you could put into that would be your race day carbon plated shoe, or I don't know. I don't even think you would need a super trainer with that kind of rotation of shoe. The 3 rotation, like, dang. If you had this, a Super Blast, and something fast like an Aero Razor or Evo SL, that could be a very fun set of shoes to have. Then race day shoe if you so desire. As always, if this review was helpful, you can check out any of the other reviews I've done. You can check out the Ontos running brand. As I said, the hat pre-order is live. I would love some support on that. Until I see you guys in the next one, happy miles. Do something good for your body. We will see you then. Bye.